Banken Champignon Group. This European family-owned business has been active in numerous locations in Eastern and Western Europe for over 50 years. Mushrooms. You will find an abundance of them during the autumn in various shapes and colors. They can often be found between leaves on the ground, on a broken branch, or on the gnarl of a fallen tree. And it's no coincidence. Mushrooms feed on the remains of other plants. The mushrooms you can see are the fruit of a network of mycelium threads under the ground. During the summer, these threads have been busy clearing up nature's mess. As the days in autumn get shorter and the weather cools, the spores start to create mushrooms. You can find spores under the caps of most mushrooms. These spores will create a whole new network of mycelium during the summer. Banken Champignons production companies imitates this cycle. Just like in nature, we need to provide a great culture medium for the mushroom mycelium to develop into tasty mushrooms. The mushroom fungus lives on dead organic material. We primarily use wheat straw mixed with gypsum and a source of nitrogen like horse manure to do this. The fermented mix is pasteurized in a closed area under controlled circumstances. We need to do this to ensure that the culture medium does not contain any other fungi or germs. Inoculation is the next step. This means we mix down the sowing seeds with the culture medium. We tend to use sterilized grain to do this. The grain has been grown with the mushroom fungi in a special laboratory. When a culture medium is developed with mushroom mycelium, it is known as spawn. The spawn is then transferred to the farm. A layer of casing soil is added to the spawn when filling the beds in which the mushrooms will be cultivated. Casing soil is a mix of different types of peat which can retain a lot of water. This is important as it helps the mushrooms grow and determines the quality. The growing process is continued during the first 2 weeks in the farm at a temperature of approximately 25 degrees centigrade with a high level of humidity. The casing soil, which is initially black, slowly becomes covered with fuzzy mycelium. We recreate the weather conditions of a mild autumn in the farm to make sure that the fuzzy mycelium start developing into mushrooms. The temperature in the cultivation area is lowered. This gives the fungus the signal to start developing new spores to help it survive the coming winter. The fuzzy mycelium draw together and within a few days develop into little buttons. These buttons develop into mushrooms. This phase progresses rapidly. They literally spring up like mushrooms. All our mushrooms are harvested by hand. The mushroom is carefully taken between finger and thumb and is pulled out of the casing soil with a twist. A small part of the stalk is then cut off. This means we can immediately put a clean mushroom in the box. Mushrooms are harvested every day, providing they are large enough during the first week of the harvest. The second week of the harvest starts after a few days. The temperature in the cultivation area is raised to 70 degrees centigrade once the second week of the harvest has ended. The culture medium used is then removed from the cultivation area. The use of thermal decontamination means that we can be sure that the next harvest, which is created in the same area, will not be affected by any diseases affecting the previous harvest. The next crop can be launched now the area is empty. The harvested mushrooms are immediately placed in boxes. They are then transported to the packaging area. All mushrooms are packaged by machine. This takes place on various packaging lines. Various transport lines ensure that the right mushrooms and the right client-specific packaging come together in the right conditions. This results in a longer shelf life and high quality. Each box is automatically checked to make sure it is the right weight. Boxes which are too light are automatically removed and are brought up to the correct weight manually. Quality is carefully inspected at this point. Mushrooms which do not meet the quality standards are not packaged and are taken out of circulation. The mushrooms are packaged in the famous blue boxes amongst others. Lids are added on the packaging line and a label is added to each box. Other products, like the portobellos here, are automatically wrapped in cling film and then labelled. The consumer packaging is now checked for quality and weighed. A best before date is now added. The mushrooms are now ready for transport. Button mushrooms are not the only tasty mushrooms. There are lots of varieties which taste great. These include famous wild mushrooms like chanterelles. Cultivated ones like oyster mushrooms, shiitake and other tasty mushrooms are packaged and distributed by Banken Champignons. Various products are tailor-made using mushrooms from across the world. These products are sold to consumers and food service companies. We create ready-made dishes with mushrooms, for breakfast, barbecues or snacks for example, in a special high-care department. Mushrooms are transported to various distribution centres a number of times a day. The different types of mushroom are then sent to supermarkets. Banken Champignon Group. This European family-owned business has been active in numerous locations in Eastern and Western Europe for over 50 years.